Hello Year 5, welcome to Thursday's Science. Today we are looking at explaining the evidence for spherical bodies in space. And you might be going, spherical? What does that mean? Well, it means a sphere shape, something that is circular. Like a ball, a football is a sphere, and like the Earth is a sphere shape because it's a circular 3D shape. So that is what we are looking at today. We are looking at evidence for spherical bodies in space. So evidence that the Earth, the Sun, the Moon, other planets are all spherical. All right, so our starter question for you today is, why do stars disappear during the day? What do you think about that? Why do stars disappear? I've got some theories here. Got A to E, and what I want you to do is on your piece of paper is write down who you agree with and why, and who you disagree with and why. So we got A. A is like, I don't know. Maybe that's you. Maybe you don't know yet. B says the stars disappear in the daytime because they only reflect moonlight. C says they go down when the sun comes up. D says the sun shines so brightly that we can't see the stars. And E says they go round to the other side of the Earth. So pause me here, have a think. Which one do you agree with and why? And when you come back, I will tell you which one I agree with and why. All right. Okay, welcome back. I wonder which one you agreed with. Now, I'm going to say that the one who is correct is D. The sun shines so brightly that we can't see the stars. Now, I know this to be a fact because I know that stars, and we've talked about this in class, stars are great big balls of gas, just like our sun, which is also a star. So it generates its own light. So it can't be B because it's not reflecting moonlight. It's got its own light. Okay? And I know that there are stars all around the Earth. So it can't be that they go around to the other side of the Earth because we know about the constellations. And also, the sun doesn't come up and the stars don't go down. It's all about the shifting positions. But don't worry if that's not something you're fully aware of yet, because that's what we are looking at this very term. So, I know it's D. The sun shines so brightly that it blocks out the light from the other stars because our sun, our star, is much closer to us. All right, so I've got a challenge for you here. What shape is hiding behind this box? And what I want you to do is see what evidence you can use to prove this shape is what you think it is. Now, I'm looking for the most brilliant explanation. Why is this shape what you think it is? Can you convince me? You can send me an email, you can make a video, you can make a diagram. How are you going to convince me that this shape is what you think it is? And I'll be really interested to know what kind of evidence you use. Because actually, once you've done that, we are going to go on and we're going to look at the evidence for how we know that Earth is a sphere. How we know the shape of the Earth. So when you're ready, unpause me and then we'll move on. Okay, so how do you think scientists have come to conclusions about the shape of the Earth, the Sun, and the Moon? So those are those spherical bodies in our neighbourhood, if you will. How do you think they've decided that the Earth is a sphere, for example? Let's have a look. So, on the website, you have got some evidence cards, the shape of the Earth evidence cards. And they have got loads of information about what people thought the shape of the Earth was, both today and in history, throughout history. So your challenge today is, can you sort those out into the two big theories? We've got one theory, which is that the Earth is flat, and we've got another theory, which is that the Earth is a sphere. Can you have a look at those evidence cards and sort them out into two groups for me? One that says flat Earth and one that says spherical Earth. And once you've got that, we're going to move on and we're going to talk about which one has the most evidence and which one you agree with and why. Okay, I hope you've managed to sort out into two piles the evidence. Which idea has the most evidence to support it? Hopefully you've worked out that is the spherical shape of the Earth, and hopefully that's what you agree with too. But what do you think based on the evidence? Now, I think looking at some of those evidence cards, I know some of them are based on things like myths and legends, based on the idea of where the heavens might be, for example. Whereas other ones are based on more tangible evidence, like the fact that if we get into a plane, we can fly around the world, and no one seems to have spotted an edge to it. I quite like that one. So you've got 3 questions to answer here. Number 1, which idea has the most evidence to support it? Number 2, what do you think? What is your opinion based on the evidence in front of you? And number 3, why is evidence so important in science? Why do we need to prove what we know? Why can't we just make a decision and stick to it and not use any evidence? I'd like you to write that down for me on your paper or in your book. And when you've done that, we'll move on to the rest of your activities today. Okay, now the sun and the moon is a really important part of our solar system. It's really important for us, the way our planet moves, the light that we get from the sun, and the way that the moons control the oceans. But it's a bit more complicated to work out who it was that first decided that the sun and moon were spherical. Unlike the Earth, it's been around for a lot longer, that idea that they're spheres. Now, according to ancient Greek beliefs, the heavens were perfect, as is a circle. They thought the circle or a sphere was a perfect shape because it's got no corners or edges. Therefore, they thought that the sun and the moon must also be spherical because they were in the heavens, in the sky. And that's a really interesting theory. Now, there's no evidence to support that ancient Greek belief, but we've got lots of evidence today to prove that the sun and the moon are spherical. That's an extra juicy challenge for you if you want to do a bit of extra research about the sun and moon. I'd love to hear it. Okay, now for your activity today. You've got your learning, using and exploring levels. Can you complete the passage using the evidence cards that we used earlier to support reasons? For supporting that the Earth, oh dear, my typing. Earth is a spherical body. Choose a piece of evidence that you think is the most important in proving that the Earth is spherical, and tell me why. Why have you chosen that? Why is that the most important piece of evidence? Then write an explanation for your reasons for thinking that the Earth is spherical and use evidence to support them. So I want you to convince me, just like you were convincing me with that shape from earlier. I want you to write it out for me in your books, and remembering our brilliant writing skills that we use in English, we have to use them across the board in science as well. And finally, a little juicy, spicy challenge for you today. If you're exploring, can you write a letter to a flat Earth theorist to persuade them that the Earth is a sphere? Okay, use the evidence that you have learnt to help support your reasons. So you are writing a letter, a lovely, polite, formal letter to someone who believes that the Earth is flat, and you are going to give them the evidence about why you think they should believe, like you do, that the Earth is a sphere. I hope you have fun being a fantastic scientist looking at the evidence today, and I cannot wait to read some of your writing or your work that you complete. Have a fantastic Thursday, guys. Bye-bye.